Enterprise marketing teams are adopting generative AI at staggering rates. Right now, the dominant use case for this technology is pure volume. Marketing departments are scaling content creation and media production at speeds that were physically impossible 3 years ago. This bar chart reveals a sharp divide in how AI is actually deployed. 61% of marketers report massive AI disruption, and 80% use it for content creation. But look at the baseline. Only 31% are satisfied with their ability to unify marketing data. Generating a higher volume of emails and articles without sharpening the underlying targeting doesn't drive revenue. It simply scales market noise. The actual value of AI sits much deeper. Marketers can build a predictive operating system out of their data instead of relying on static, retrospective reports. This means moving away from looking at what happened last quarter and moving toward real-time targeting, dynamic segmentation, and immediate sales prioritization. Building that system requires working from the ground up. You start at the bedrock of data governance and build layer by layer until you reach autonomous, intelligent workflows. Scaling output volume without first scaling the underlying intelligence destroys pipeline capacity. The foundational base layer of any marketing stack is the CRM and the core database. A common assumption is that dropping a new AI tool into this stack will automatically sort out fragmented systems or patch over weak reporting. It won't. This 3D blueprint illustrates the AI multiplier effect. When an algorithm passes over disconnected CRM inputs, it processes errors, scaling poor assumptions across campaigns. Fixing this requires strict governance, starting with identity accuracy. Every engagement activity must tie definitively back to the correct person. Next is field completeness. A highly sophisticated segmentation algorithm cannot function if the data parameters it relies on are left blank. The third requirement is recency. Intelligence built on old data is optimizing for last year's market. Key decision-makers change jobs, companies secure new funding, or undergo mergers, which shifts buying urgency. AI cannot invent reliable intelligence from an unreliable baseline. It requires human governance to dictate exactly which data sources are trusted. Once the baseline is clean, we move up to the middle layer, the intelligence engine. This static Venn diagram represents traditional, descriptive segmentation. Marketers categorize target audiences based on static variables like industry, company size, and job title. AI shifts that framework. Instead of asking who fits our profile, the system asks which accounts show an active need. To answer that, it synthesizes behavioral signals. It pulls in website behavior and content downloads, mapping real-time intent over static firmographics. This analysis compresses the critical delay between a prospect generating a market signal and a sales team taking a measurable action. It dictates immediate campaign budgeting. Resources route directly towards accounts demonstrating high intent rather than spreading evenly across cold lists. Human strategy defines the initial parameters, but the AI executes the analysis, making the segmentation immediately responsive to actual market behavior. This dynamic data feeds into predictive scoring, qualifying leads and isolating the accounts most likely to buy. But predictive models frequently fail upon deployment. The primary obstacle is a lack of trust from the sales team, who often encounter an opaque black box, outputting a high score with zero explanation. When a system handed over a predictive score without context, sales reps will usually overtrust the model or ignore it entirely. The solution is transparency. The model must be cracked open to document exact weights, like campaign similarity or intent data. You then establish clear feedback loops. Sales outcomes, wins, losses, and rejections must feed directly back into the AI to calibrate and improve its accuracy. The objective of predictive intelligence is not to automate every decision. It equips the team with context to make faster, better-informed human decisions. All of this underlying structure culminates at the highest level of the stack, the action layer, where reporting becomes execution. This is the domain of AI agents. These systems move intelligence out of passive dashboards, actively coordinating tasks and triggering specific workflows. For example, an agentic workflow can compile and summarize an entire account's recent engagement history just minutes before a representative makes a scheduled sales call. Or it can identify a high-intent segment of buyers based on predictive scoring and automatically route them into a highly targeted B2B nurture path. However, this autonomy requires strict constraints. It must be bounded by documented governance rules that maintain human oversight. Organizations rely on standards like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework to build these boundaries, establishing specific thresholds for generative AI profiles. Crucial domains must remain firmly under human control. Strategy, brand voice, and final customer-facing actions demand explicit validation before execution. In a market saturated by identical AI-generated content, competitive differentiation belongs exclusively to teams that pair rigorous data unification with disciplined predictive execution.